Good afternoon and welcome to VMT News. My name is Alfredo Gutierrez. COVID-19 has changed the lives of all students, especially our LISD athletes. Giovanni Torres has a story.
COVID-19 has brought a lot of changes to Laredo ISD students, especially to our athletes. Coaches have created many protocols in order to create a safety environment and for athletes to perform at their highest. The Martin Tigers football team has adapted to prevent more athletes to be harmed by COVID-19.
Well, to begin with, every day we have to take a health rank provided by our coaches to
Continuing with some more local news in our city, Mayor Pete Saenz, along with other Laredo leaders, met with Ken Salazar, the current United States ambassador to Mexico, to have a discussion relating to the border. Topics discussed included the lack of funds from the federal government for border security, how virtual wall proposed by President Joe Biden and his administration will be implemented, the dangers of fleeing immigrants might face along their journey, reopening the border, and efforts to get travelers from Mexico vaccinated. Mayor Saenz, in a speech, thanked the ambassador for willing to meet with both American and Mexican sides of the border. The mayor also says he will continue to discuss these issues with officials at every level, including local, state, and national. Other events happening in our city that fall, Carnival Extravaganza is returning. Like every year, the carnival will offer food and rides to people of all ages. Over 30 rides will be present, like Moby Dick, The Zipper, and Starship. As part of our special offer, any attendees whose face is painted as Catherine or Katrina in honor of Dia de los Muertos will be able to admit it for free. Opening night for the event already welcomed a big crowd of attendees and plans to welcome a lot more in the coming days. On the weekdays, the carnival opens at 6 p.m. and 2 p.m. On the weekends, they also offer bracelets for unlimited rides. Prices depend on the day, $16 on weekdays and $25 on the weekends. Now moving forward with our national stories, Fox News is accusing major news networks ABC, CBS, and NBC of not wanting to show the Democrats in a bad situation. All these networks seem to avoid the race for governor of Virginia. ABC talked about climate change, CBS talked about a former aide to Hillary Clinton and her new book, and NBC talked about local food truck in Austin, Texas. It is odd behavior whether or not Terry McAuliffe wins the race is expected to impact how the Democrats perform in the 2022 midterms, which may not worsen President Biden's administration, probably even more than their falling approval numbers. With something as important as this, you would normally expect more in-depth reporting and attention from these major news channels. McAuliffe, the Democrat candidate, is already in hot water. After claiming that Virginia parents have no right into what their children are learning in their schools, so for now, we'll have to see if the accusations made by Fox are correct. Moving on, let's talk about President Joe Biden and his recent trip to Europe, where he seemed to get along better with world leaders rather than his own citizens. What Biden and the world leaders discussed included climate change and making rich companies in their countries pay more taxes. Biden even had a nice conversation with Pope Francis himself, despite having some trouble with bishops back at home in America. For his support on abortion, Francis calls Biden a good Catholic, and the president even received the Holy Sacrament at an Italian church. Biden told the press that two unarmed world leaders came up to him and thanked him for his leadership skills, and that he is making a big difference in the world. However, two infamous world leaders that were absent from the meeting in Rome was Xi Jinping of China and Vladimir Putin of Russia, who were already suspected of not wanting to participate in global cooperation. If they do not see it as a way to advance the interests of their countries, the president told reporters that he was quite disappointed in the absentees. Biden also shows that he intends to be the exact opposite of former President Donald Trump by reversing his administration's tariffs on steel and aluminum. He also talked about reviving the U.S. support for the Iran nuclear deal, paying more attention to climate change, and issuing an apology for Trump withdrawing from the 2015 Paris Agreement. Now onto a state story. Dallas police said they arrested a man in connection with the shooting of death of a 51-year-old man Sunday in South Dallas. Police were dispatched about 2:50 p.m. Sunday after reports of a shooting at 3400 Malcolm X Boulevard near Pennsylvania Avenue, where they found a man with multiple gunshot wounds in the parking lot of nearby businesses. He was unresponsive. The man, 51-year-old James Arthur Davis, was taken to the hospital and later died from his injuries. Police said Monday another 51-year-old was arrested in connection with the fatal shooting. Kerry Lamont, Webb faces a murder charge, was being held in Dallas County Jail as Monday morning. His bail had not been set early Monday. It is unclear whether Webb has an attorney. Onto another state story. Artisan wells that were the first to supply water to downtown San Antonio are actually still used and in need of repairs. It's why San Antonio's water system has recently shut down, part of the Riverwalk and part of Market Street. This is the first well that San Antonio had to supply water to the very rapidly growing city. Ann Hayden, the director of communications at San Antonio Water System, said. Hayden said that they hope that the wells get repaired and they will be done before sunset Tuesday. The Artisan water wells in downtown San Antonio are historical, and the wells are located near Market Street and Presses Street, were the first wells to supply water back in 1891. Hayden said that's why they were placed in the heart of downtown, to supply water to the rapidly growing city. The Artisan water wells are very rare and some of the only ones left in the country. It's actually artisan, something that's unheard of in the water world. It pushes water up, and these pumps hold the water down, Hayden said. Stay with us. We'll be right back in a moment with the weather.
Hi, everyone. Al Roker here. As a guy with his own catchphrase, I appreciate that Smokey's only said,
"Only you can prevent wildfires."
but I'm filling in because there's a lot more to report. Like when there are parched or windy conditions out there, you gotta be extra careful with things like burning yard waste. After all, wildfires can start anywhere, even in your neck of the woods. Go to SmokeyBear.com to learn more about wildfire prevention.
Now on with today's forecast. Today's weather for November 17 will be 76 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the day and 55 degrees Fahrenheit average at nighttime. Keep your coats close by, folks, and be ready for some nice, cool, chilly weather throughout the rest of the day. And now with the 3-day forecast. The weather for November 18 will be 78 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the day and 75 degrees Fahrenheit at night. November 19 will have an average of 75 degrees Fahrenheit throughout the day and an average of 54 degrees Fahrenheit at nighttime. So make sure to be warm at night, people. And on November 20th, the weather will be 75 degrees at daytime and 73 degrees at nighttime. And that will be all for the weather. Thank you.
Scene 103, take one.
I thought we'd be on the same page about this, and we're not.
How do I know the way I'm going to respond to it?
I want you to get the vaccine because I want you to be safe.
What if you end up in the hospital? That's what I'm scared of.
If you was to die, man, that would literally kill me, man.
I hug you.
Yeah. If it made you feel that way, bro, I'll probably do. I love you, man. I love you too.
Now we will go on to our sports section. Prosecutors in Nevada said that former Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Henry Ruggs III reached a speed of 156 miles per hour and had a blood alcohol level more than twice the legal limit before the early morning crash that killed a 23-year-old woman and her dog. Eric Bauman, chief deputy, district attorney for Clark County, Nevada, said Ruggs was traveling at 156 miles per hour about 2 seconds before he crashed into the back of Toyota RAV4 driven by Tina Tinter on Rainbow Boulevard near Spring Valley Parkway in Las Vegas. When Ruggs' airbags deployed, his car was traveling at 127 miles per hour. Bauman said, "I cannot recall a speed that high in my career on the bench," said Joe Bonaventure. Clark County District Attorney Steve Olson also said reporters that he had never seen someone accused of such excessive speeding. Although prosecutors had requested a bond to be set at $1 million, Bonaventure ordered Ruggs' bond to be set at $150,000, and he was released Wednesday, November 3rd, according to the Nevada Supreme Court. They also ruled last year that impaired drivers who cause a death can no longer be prosecuted for a second-degree murder, but Ruggs could be charged with a felony DUI death, which carries a maximum sentence of 20 years in prison. Moving on to our next story, Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers will miss his team's trip to face Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday due to COVID-19 protocols. On Friday, while appearing on the Pat McAfee show, Rodgers said that he had contracted COVID-19 and that he is unvaccinated against the virus. A revelation that has prompted criticism, having previously announced back in August that he was immunized. Rodgers went on to say on Friday that he was in the crosshairs of the woke mob right now over his vaccination status and that the media was on a witch hunt to find out which players were vaccinated in his absence. Second-year quarterback Jordan Love will face the Chiefs This is a huge unfaced error by a man who has transcended football and wants to have a career. In an interview with CNN, NFL insider Ian Rappaport said Rodgers had been following NFL COVID-19 guidelines for unvaccinated players, which require daily testing even on off days, and the wearing of protective masks indoors. However, Rappaport says that the NFL will investigate how strictly the protocols have been implemented because Rodgers has been spotted not wearing a mask during some indoor press conferences with the reporters at Lambeau Field. Unvaccinated players are required to wear masks at their club facility and while traveling. The NFL said it is reviewing the situations the fines of an unvaccinated player can face for breathing COVID-19 protocols can be steep. Gathering outside of the team facility or travel in groups more than 3 players can result in a fine of $14,000. Up next, in boxing, Las Vegas, Saul Alvarez's team had the commemorative T-shirts ready. The fighter who goes by Canelo donned one moments after he had knocked out Caleb Plant to become the undisputed super middleweight boxing champion. His record, 57-1-2, with 39 knockouts, also wore a shiny gold crown on his head, while his handlers tried to adorn him with his various title belts, one from each of the 4 major sanctioning bodies, another from the Ring magazine, awarded to the publication's top fighter in each weight class, and a second belt from the World Boxing Council, which it took some effort, but eventually Alvarez's team found room on the boxer's 5'8" frame to display all his titles. As Alvarez posed for photographs alongside coaches, he looked like a proud champion. The win over Plant made him the second undisputed champion currently fighting, alongside the Scottish super lightweight Josh Taylor, as well as the first undisputed champion in super middleweight history. He is also the first Mexican fighter to hold all 4 major titles in a weight class. He also looked like a target. The profile and payday tied to an Alvarez about make him an appealing future opponent for his serious contenders from 160 to 175 pounds. For former champions seeking one last windfall, and even for non-boxers like the Ultimate Fighting Championship standout, Kamaru Usman. Boxing megastars like Alvarez usually fight twice a year, but he has fought 4 times since last December and says he will most likely fight again in May. He knows he has options, but says he will not ponder them until January. I'll take a little rest. I deserve it, Alvarez said at a news conference after the fight. After that, we'll see what happens.
Resuming moments like these starts with protecting our kids against COVID-19 and dangerous new variants. Get the latest facts by visiting getvaccineanswers.org and speaking to your pediatrician or healthcare provider.
Rapper Travis Scott was the most recognizable figure associated with Astroworld, the Houston music festival that ended in a tragedy. This Friday evening, when 8 people died and hundreds more injured, Live Nation Entertainment and its subsidiary, Live Nation Worldwide, have been connected to about 200 deaths and at least 750 injuries since 2006. The Houston Chronicle reported on Monday, November 8, 2021, after searching past record records, Occupational Safety and Health Administration reports and news coverage. In a statement to the NPR Monday, November 8, 2021, Live Nation wrote, "We continue to support and assist local authorities in their ongoing investigation so that both the fans and the families can get answers that they deserve. And we will address all legal matters at the appropriate time. Soon we'll know the end result to this horrible tragedy." One of the most popular games that there is at the moment, Fortnite, has recently been called out for removing Travis Scott's emote, the Out West, which features audio from the Travis Scott song Out West. It was removed from the Fortnite item shop in the fact the entire section of Fortnite's item shop that housed the dance emote is gone. According to a report from Eurogamer, the daily section of the item shop has disappeared with no explanation, and Epic declined to comment to The Verge. Last year, the rapper held a Fortnite virtual concert and multiple Travis Scott-themed items were created and sold to celebrate the event. It seems the Out West emote was the only Travis Scott item affected, and it is not known if Epic Games will disable other Travis Scott emotes or skins, or if they will return to the item shop in the future. Sony has dropped the first official poster for Spider-Man: No Way Home, lighting up the web with several clues lurking in the background for the upcoming follow-up to 2019's $1.3 billion global grosser Spider-Man: Far From Home. Anticipation is sky high on the latest installment that sees Tom Holland reprise his role as a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. When the first trailer dropped in August, it racked up an all-time record of 355 million views worldwide, in its first 24 hours, blowing away the previous record holder, Marvel's Endgame. And then that is all for today, folks. Thanks for tuning in. Till next time, I'm Alfredo Gutierrez here at VMT News. We hope you have a great day.